So, the Jilly Juice is a great tool for a person to get their biochemistry aligned. So, they're not coming from a very imbalanced perspective on the world, feeding into the stories that are out there. And there are a lot of stories out there. There are stories about past humans who have evolved into humans today. There are stories about where we came from. There are stories about what is the best solution to slow down the COVID pandemic. And while stories are great and they're entertaining and they're so fun to read and watch on movies and TV, stories are also somebody else's perception. Stories are somebody's way of explaining something through their biochemistry. And so the whole point of Jilly Juice is not to get so involved with the stories out there. The whole point of Jilly Juice is not to get so wrapped up in old doctrines that are written by people that have a particular agenda, who have a particular, specific intention. And that's why even with science can be used as a way to sell perceptions using specific facts. I mean, when I read somebody's perception about the Anunnaki and their story about how they came to be, and we had a difference of opinion whether or not they're reptilian or not, because, I read the stories about Anunnaki. I've heard the reptilian, and he says, no, they're not. He goes, no, they're stolen DNA or some kind of DNA from some other race somewhere out there. And they said, and people, and the giants were eating people or some crap. I'm like, the only facts that you gave me was DNA, giants, and people. That was the only facts. Every single other word that came out of that person's mouth was all a story, a perception, an adjective. It wasn't fact. It was somebody else's perception on past events. Okay? And so those that are not doing J-Juice at the level that they should, they still get caught up in somebody else's perception. They still get caught up in somebody else's solution based upon their perception of what the problem is. See, that's why we have so much chaos in the world, is because we have so many people at different levels of evolution, different belief systems, evolution, different perceptions, and they're all trying to pass it off as if it was a fact. No, facts are a noun, a person, place, or thing. That's it. And so, when you mention, hey, what's up? When a person mentions only nouns, and even a verb can be used as a perception. Because just because you say someone's running doesn't mean they're running. They could be walking really fast. So if a noun is the only fact, that's it. A noun is the only fact. And so anything else, adjective, verb, adverb, it's all perception. And then that's how you can get people into your cult. This is how cults find the people that are very imbalanced. And that's how easily swayable a population can be when they are in the death throes and they're living from their imbalanced biochemistry, living off of perceptions as if they were fact. Just even this whole mask thing. Do you know what's 100% fact? If you stay home and you don't go around anybody, you will not pass the virus to anybody. That's 100% fact. If you stay home and you're not around somebody else, the chances of you being attributed to somebody else's infection is basically none. Like, I live next door to a person over there that just waved hi to me. I don't ever go around them. I'm actually more than 6 feet away from that person. And guess what? They're never gonna get the virus from me because I haven't been in their vicinity. So if you want a 100% surefire way to not spread around a virus, you stay your ass at home. But this whole thing of wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, oh my God, the war of perceptions is so insane, and people are going nuts over it. And it's just like whatever. But even with the vaccines are 75% effective, because we have 25% of the population that are very imbalanced, that haven't risen to the level of their current environment. They're going to have a hard time rising to the level of this environment, even with the vaccine. Okay, so we know that there are so many different people at different levels of evolution. They're not going to have an easy time, adapting to this environment. And especially if you're not doing the J juice, you'll get caught up in story after story after story, perception after perception, conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, and reading about the Nephilim in PubMed and how they diagnosed the Nephilim with having these diseases, which, yeah, the Nephilim were giants of the past. But they were giants of the past because the atmosphere was different. And then the atmosphere changed, and guess what? When environment changes, like having a COVID, you're going to have to adapt to it. And when you have a disease or cancer or any kind of chronic illness or autoimmune disorder, it means you have an issue with adapting to your environment. And you need to give your body what it needs. And if you don't, guess what? You'll have a diagnosable disease, like the giants did back then. They had goiters, they had other types of hypothyroidism, pituitary issues, no different than people nowadays who have a hard time adapting to the environment. They have diagnosable diseases. And then somebody wants to go and explain it with some kind of story. Bible, yes, the Bible is based in truth. A truth is a perception. It's not fact. A Bible is a truth, but it's not a fact. Now, there are things that happened back in the Bible, like volcanoes. That's a fact. Volcanoes happened way back then. They happen now. There were dinosaurs. Yeah, that's a fact. We have proven bones. There were giants of the past. Yeah, that's a fact. But how they got here and who and what created them and, all of the politics around who they were at the time, it's all based in perception. You weren't there. And even if you were there, you'd still have a perception of what was going on. You don't have the true facts. Nobody has true facts at this point when you're discussing history or the Bible or any conspiracy theory or any freaking story on the internet. You're not dealing with facts. You're dealing with so many perceptions, and then people want to pass them off as facts. And then I'm saying, you know what? Julie Juice is about facts. Okay? Here's the laws of life and here's the laws of death. Either follow the laws of life or follow the laws of death, and that's it. End of story. Black and white. Oh no, we got to have the whole story around it. Oh yeah, the story. Yeah, the story sounds great. This story sounds great. This story sounds great. Yeah, okay. Well, it looks like you need to be entertained, to have all your fun stories, to keep you entertained, to give you, to rationalize why things happen the way they happen. When simply it's just that you brought in the wrong chemistry, now you have a diagnosable disease. You're not feeding your body correctly, you have a diagnosable disease. You can't adapt to the environment, you have a diagnosable disease. It's pretty much straight cut and dry. There's no need to have a story around it. There's no need to blame somebody for your predispositions. There's no need to say that somebody else has to do this and this and that in order for you to feel safe. That's the issues that we're dealing with. And so I'm just like, you know what? I stay at home. I don't want to deal with the imbalanced people out there. And by nature, by staying home, guess what? I'm not passing along the COVID to anybody. Oh, but those that are wearing masks, that want everybody to wear masks, they're out there freaking yelling and screaming and telling everyone to do this and do that. And guess what? Every time they open their mouth, they pass on the COVID. They release spores. So the irony doesn't escape me, but it's freaking laughable. So anyways, do the J juice. Stop discriminating. Get out of the stories. Those stories are brainwashing people into all these perceptions that are dressed up as facts. And then it becomes the Tower of Babel. And then you're repeating history. Why not change history and change the way in which you do things? Change the future by changing yourself. And maybe you might see a different outcome. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.